Well, hello, it is so good to be able to share with you during this lovely harvest season. I'm Rebecca Parnell, I'm the Church Partnership Officer here at the Leprosy Mission. And as part of our talk today, we will be touching on Matthew chapter 9, verses 35 to 38. So Judith Carson, one of our board members and a volunteer speaker for the Leprosy Mission, is going to read that for us now to start.
Matthew chapter 9, verses 35 to 38. The workers are few. Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Harvest is such a beautiful time of year where we can truly look around and admire God's creation and be thankful for his provision and his abundance. And those are generally the first things that pop into our head when we think about harvest. Now, I don't know whether it's because I'm originally a good country County Armagh girl, but when I think of harvest, I often think about our historical farming roots here in Northern Ireland. And I think about how farming land and its lifestyle is often passed from generation to generation within the same family. And I think of when it comes to harvest, how entire families are often recruited and extra help brought in to enable the vast amount of crops that need to be gathered in. And I still remember to this day how on my uncle's farm, when it came to harvest, how my dad and all of his other siblings were asked to come and help. And even my great uncle was asked to come and help as well. And I still remember how he used to lie on the grass afterwards with red, puffy, teary eyes, because despite having severe hay fever, he never refused that call to help. Because harvest generally requires triple the amount of work that a normal farming day would entail. Because without extra help, harvest would not be able to happen as effectively, as not as much crop could be reaped, and so much would be lost if there wasn't enough people to help. If we think of a very recent example, it wasn't that long ago that there were a national call for fruit pickers, as farmers worried that without the help of European workers, that so much of their crops would rot away and be lost and would be wasted. So for me, thinking of all of this, harvest is a time for togetherness, a time for unity, and a time to come and help and support each other. And this can be so apparently seen in our passage when Jesus says, "The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest." Because Jesus saw the crowd, the people that were harassed and helpless, and he healed them and helped those that were sick. He was moved with compassion because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And when Jesus looked at the crowd, and probably when he thought further afield, he knew that there were so many people in need of help and guidance, but not enough people to help to do this. And that is probably why discipleship was such a key aspect of his ministry, as he knew that he needed more spiritual workers to help bring in the harvest. And we know from other parts of the gospel that Jesus had compassion and helped and healed those who were sick with leprosy. Probably one of the most harassed and helpless people in biblical times, and even to this very day. Because both then and now, people with leprosy need someone to help them in a physical, mental, financial, and spiritual way, as sadly, those affected by leprosy are still often harassed and helpless. And you may be surprised to hear that leprosy is still an issue. Many people remember those passages from the Bible, and they think that it therefore must be an ancient disease that's no longer a problem in this day and age. However, the reality is that leprosy still devastates the lives of so many people across our world. Too many, in fact. And nearly 250,000 people are newly diagnosed with leprosy every single year. That amounts to every 2 minutes, someone somewhere in our world is told that they have leprosy. And 10% of those cases are found in children. So that is an alarming 25,000 every single year, or 60 to 70 every single day. And due to the stigma and discrimination associated with leprosy, many sufferers hide away, ashamed and afraid to be diagnosed and labelled with the term leprosy. And due to this stigma and reluctance to be diagnosed, and underreporting or even a lack of understanding of what leprosy is, there are hundreds of thousands of undiagnosed cases, meaning that 250,000 newly diagnosed cases every single year is probably closer to the 1 million mark. And now leprosy is an extremely destructive and cruel disease. And early signs start with numb, light patches on the skin. And it slowly begins to shorten tendons and destroy nerve endings in the hands, feet, and face, leaving sufferers with no ability to feel pain anymore. And this results in infections, ulcers, and permanent, irreversible disabilities. And I fear to think of what the disability rates will look like as a result of lockdowns across the world, stopping many of our outreach programs aimed at spotting hidden cases and treating them early to stop preventable disabilities. Because unfortunately, leprosy does not wait for lockdown restrictions to be eased. Leprosy, to the surprise of many people, is completely curable. Medication is completely free to sufferers and only costs the leprosy mission £6 to administer to patients. However, sadly, despite being completely curable, leprosy still strips sufferers of their identity and their dignity, acting much like a thief that comes in the night to steal, kill, and destroy their jobs, their education, their marriage prospects, and their basic human rights due to stigma and discrimination, making leprosy one of the world's most stigmatized diseases. And just like biblical times, people are outcasts and excluded from everyday life. The Leprosy Mission works in over 30 countries, supporting projects across Africa and Asia. And here in Northern Ireland, we particularly support projects across Nigeria, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Nepal, India, and Bangladesh. And our aim is to see an end to this ancient and destructive disease in our lifetime. By following the example of Jesus, we aim to reach out and break the chains of leprosy and empower those suffering to attain healing, hope, and dignity. For 8-year-old Sumi and Sugoni, leprosy is most definitely not a thing of the past. It is very real, it is very present, and it is very much a current problem. And they are only 2 of thousands of children that are diagnosed with leprosy every single year. Leprosy is not a thing of the past. It is not something that is just affecting older generations. It is a disease that can affect children like Sumi and Sugoni as well. Sumi lives in Kulura and Sugoni lives in Madhopper. And both of their families work in tea gardens in Bangladesh. And they both live in areas that prior to the Leprosy Mission's involvement and other charities' involvement was thought to be an area unaffected by leprosy. However, once programs were established and developed, people were shocked by the amount of people affected by leprosy, and even more so by the amount of children affected by leprosy. A rate far above average, and with a startling amount of people already having severe disability. And that was Sumi and Sugoni's world. And the stark reality is, there are new generations growing up in a world where leprosy can still rob them of their futures when their lives have barely just begun. For many children across the world, leprosy will rob them of their education and therefore their future careers. It will rob them of their marriage prospects, and for many, leprosy will brand them unworthy of any social standing and unworthy of basic human rights. And for many, it was going to trap them in a world of poverty that they will be unable to escape from. Thankfully, for Sumi and Sugoni, their leprosy was spotted in time, and they are on multi-drug therapy to cure them from their leprosy. And that was because of our advocacy for empowerment project in Bangladesh, which is rooted in partnering with local charities, local government services and local media to help make their impact as effective as possible. Because of these partnerships, we can reach and cater for the needs of so many more leprosy affected people. Similar to our image of harvest, if the Leprosy Mission were to try and do this alone, we may not have found Sumi and Sugoni in time. And for them, that meant avoiding unnecessary disability and allowing them to grow up without the restrictions that leprosy can bring. Because of our partnership with other charities and training programs in local government, we can help find and treat leprosy affected people and get them the follow-up and aftercare that them and their families need. Because of self-help groups in the community, they and their families will be supported and will continue to learn about leprosy awareness and other health activities. This program and its partnerships and others like it across the world in the Leprosy Mission brings people together. It helps empower people and creates the perfect environments for growth enabling leprosy-affected children and their families to thrive and not just survive. Because of this support network, we hope and pray that Sumi's passion of wanting to continue to study her favourite subject, Bengali, and Sugoni's dream of being a teacher will take root and bear fruit. Because leprosy-affected children have dreams just like every other child. And with your support, leprosy will no longer define them. You could be a part of making their dreams a reality. The following video is a clip of children across India that are sharing with you their dreams of the future and how leprosy will no longer define them.
Young people affected by leprosy have dreams just like everyone else.
నేను పోలీస్ అవుతాను.
I want work in ITA.
నేను టీచర్ అవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
I want to become an engineer.
నేను పాస్టర్ అవుతాను.
నేను మంచి టైలర్ అవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
జీవితంలో ఎప్పటికైనా నేను ఒక మంచి మెకానిక్ అవ్వాలనేదే నా గోల్.
I want to be agriculture officer.
నేను మంచి వెల్డర్ని అవ్వాలనుకుంటున్నాను.
I want to be a doctor. I want to become bank manager.
There more to be than leprosy. There is more to me than leprosy.
లెపర్సీ కన్నా నా జీవితం గొప్ప. లెపర్సీ కంటే నా జీవితమే ఎక్కువ.
There is more to me than leprosy.
But what about the thousands more children that are yet to be found and diagnosed? They are at risk of having their dreams robbed from them because of leprosy and the disabilities and the discrimination that it may cause. This is why your help is so crucial. The Leprosy Mission has a big goal. We are working towards zero transmission of leprosy by 2035. And some might think that that is impossible, especially when they hear how 250,000 people are newly diagnosed every single year. And it would be impossible if we were to try and do it by ourselves. But we have faith that with God's guidance and your help, that will be possible. At the Leprosy Mission, we feel like we have been sowing seeds for years through community work, social outreach, government laws and research. And it is now time to reap the benefits of what has been sown. But we need your help to collect the harvest. Jesus cured leprosy in his lifetime, but we are called to end it in ours. This is not the time to sit back and become complacent and simply admire what has been achieved already. We have seen these seeds grow and bear fruit, which we praise God for, but now is the time for the harvest, and harvest requires triple the amount of work as the sowing. We need to keep pushing, keep working, keep praying, because we can see an end to leprosy on the horizon. Now, more than ever, we need your support, because we don't want the financial impact of COVID-19 to push this vision back, nor do we want it to impact our program's activities. God's harvest is not just here in Northern Ireland, but across the world. And his workers are not just missionaries who go overseas. But by supporting our work through a donation, through prayer, through volunteering with us, you become a worker in God's harvest, and you become an everyday missionary for the Leprosy Mission. Because you enable that vital work to continue. You enable those who go out to seek out hidden cases just like Sumi and Sugoni's. You enable their treatment, and you enable advocacy campaigns so that we can speak out on behalf of leprosy affected people so they can live life to its fullest. With God's help, with God's guidance and your support, we can see an end to leprosy in our lifetime and restore hope to the harassed and helpless in Jesus' name. You can pave the way for future generations so that no child will be born into a world where they are at risk of leprosy, just like Sumi and Sugoni. But we need your help to make this happen. We often think, how as an individual can I help? How can I make a difference, especially when the figures seem so bleak? However, if a farmer were to look at his field that needed reaped on this mass of land, he would think it impossible to do it alone. However, if help is recruited and everyone chips in and does their part, what seemed impossible alone becomes possible together. And that has been so apparently clear given what our country has been through the past few months and is still going through. We have seen the impact that individuals coming together to help each other can make. With your help, with you chipping in and doing what you can, we can make a massive impact together. You can do this through a donation, leaving a legacy, praying for us, volunteering with us. You can donate and find out more information on our website, www.tlm-ni.org. A donation of just £24 can find and cure one person of leprosy. Please support us and please partner with us, because together we can see an end to leprosy.